Greetings to everyone interested in practicing mindfulness and Vipassana meditation. Today I would like to give mindfulness practitioners an update about the COVID-19 pandemic. There is a crisis, and it is important that we, as mindfulness and Vipassana practitioners, live with mindfulness and wisdom in the present moment, with right concentration and morality, so we aren't overcome by our emotions. The pandemic has spread throughout the world, and no matter how young, old, well, or unwell you are, the disease can reach and sicken you, especially those who already have chronic health conditions, such as respiratory or cardiac ailments. There is uncertainty, so it is essential to be extra careful. This illness is especially targeting the elderly, so please try to be vigilant in protecting yourself. Some of you are retired and you spend your time traveling around the world, visiting your children and grandchildren, and enjoying other activities instead of having time for yourself to practice mindfulness and wisdom. We're always busy going out to do things, but please remember that we don't have much time left in this life, and we should instead use this limited time to prepare ourselves instead of clinging to our fear and anxiety about the crisis, which causes us to suffer. The most important thing is how to get out of suffering. Our possessions can't help us escape suffering, but just keep us enchanted and bound. The more you have, the more you suffer. For example, you are worried about how your children and family will treat your things after you pass away, but you have never been worried about how to be safe from the cycle of rebirth. Wisdom is critical, but how can we have it? The answer is that we need to keep practicing mindfulness until we have wisdom. Mindfulness will act as a guard to protect your eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. Mindfulness is like a guard for the six sense doors where enemies come in, seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, feeling, and thinking. Normally, the mind will run to the enemy and attach and cling to it. The mind creates the feelings of like and dislike, and then craves and clings, creating karma because our mind is dominated by impurities or defilements. It causes us to cling and attach to our feelings and possessions, and then we feel proud that we own many external objects, things, or assets. Craving is controlling our mind and causing the world of sense desire to judge us and tell us how we should live our lives. As a result, it is difficult for us to have mindfulness, right concentration, and wisdom. Now, let's practice to strengthen our mind. If the mind has good morality, it brings joy and rapture, and when there is joy and happiness, it is easy to have mindfulness, which can protect us from evils that enter through the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. When something happens to us, physically or mentally, with the right mindfulness, the mind will objectively observe at the base, see what happened, and not cling to emotions. We call this right concentration, where the mind objectively observes at the home base or at the four foundations of mindfulness. The mind acts as the observer of all contact that comes through the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. When contact arises at the six sense doors and causes thoughts to arise, the mind will be able to know and observe at the home base, the knower mind. When the mind is objectively observing, there is right concentration that arises to separate thought from the body and mind. When there is separation between the mind, body, and thought, the practitioner will be able to see the working mechanism of the mind's path. When external objects contact the six sense doors and cause the mind to think, we will see how the mind reacts to the contact. If the impurities, anger, greed, delusion, happiness, or suffering arise, just know it. Then the mind is objectively observing at the base, and there is separation between the body and mental factors. This will cause the mind to see the three characteristics of the body and the mental factors of impermanence, suffering, and no self. The mind won't cling to the emotions and will be free from attachment to them. With these good qualities of mind, we will be able to use the mind in our daily life. Especially during this pandemic crisis, it is good to evaluate our practice. Some people don't take the practice seriously, but just cling to happiness and aren't able to endure suffering. When the body has pain or is hurt, they move right away. They attach to the pain and cause dislike to arise in the mind, and then they crave for non-existence of the pain, causing them to move away and quit. They are not practicing to gain patience with wisdom or to accumulate the 10 perfections. So when a critical situation arises, they don't have the right mind and strength to cope with it and just cling to suffering. You can see how mindful you are by noting if the mind is disturbed, scared, or distracted when there is a contact. Some people try to practice mindfulness, but they still spend time watching the news all day from all channels and then get worried. When we stay home, we use many types of media, such as Facebook, YouTube, and Netflix, which causes the internet to get slow because everyone in the world is doing the same thing. Previously, we searched for happiness outside our home, going out to have fun, but now because of COVID-19, we can't go out, so we try to find happiness inside our home. We surf the internet all day long instead of managing time to practice and observe our body and mind, and we are constantly checking our cell phone, causing us to be distracted all day long. We now have a good opportunity to use this crisis time to practice mindfulness, right concentration, and wisdom. We can always be affected by our parents, children, husband, wife, or neighbor, so wherever we are, our mind can be impacted, causing suffering to arise. When we are at home, we might feel irritated with our parents when they speak loudly, as they cannot hear well, or we might feel annoyed with our child or husband when they don't behave as we would like, or just by seeing their faces. Now we have to cook and clean when before we only had to buy food from outside and eat with our colleagues at work. But now with this crisis, we have to be home and cook for our family. There are so many things to be responsible for and worry about. Therefore, when we spend time with our family now, we need to correctly adapt our mind by filling it with loving kindness, compassion, mindfulness, mercy, concentration, and wisdom. The more we are with our family and spend time together, the more we need to observe our mind. Sometimes things are not the way we like with our children, husband, wife, or parents. We need to be mindful and observe our mind before we perform any action, whether physical, speech, or thought. And then mindfulness and wisdom will calm our mind down. When you watch the news, you get all kinds of information. There are stories of natural herbal cures, predictions by psychics of how the world is going to be destroyed, and so on. And then we and others share this information with our friends or loved ones. Some believe there is an herb that can cure COVID-19, though the pandemic just began a few months ago. Then we share this news depending on how we feel this information fits our likes and dislikes and character. Sometimes it is false news and information, and when someone warns us that it is false and not from a credible source, we get angry and dislike the person because they acted in a way we didn't expect. We had good intentions and compassion to help people when we shared the information, but when they listened and expressed a different opinion and argued instead of thanking us, we became angry. As a result, we feel dislike for the other person, even though we are far apart and only communicate through social media. Some people spend time reading and sharing information all day, instead of being in the present moment with mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom. Then we need to start training our mind. When you feel like you really want to watch TV or surf social media, try to observe the mind, that it clings to distraction and enjoyment. Right now, we don't have any excuse that we have to work and take care of a lot of business. We just stay home. So let's intentionally practice formal meditation to increase our strength so we don't have regrets later on. Time goes by really quickly, and we are getting older each minute, so we need to do it now. Time will soon be at an end in this life, and when this opportunity ends, it will never return. Our lives are full of uncertainty. We can't be confident about anything, but Buddha's Dhamma is always available. No matter where or when we are, unexpected events can occur at any time. Dhamma is like a very special dish which is full of nutrients for the mind to create energy that will help us to survive the daily suffering in this current world and at the same time train the mind not to cling to phenomena. We need to be mindful with right concentration and separate the mind, body, and mental factors. Then wisdom will impartially see all phenomena the way they are. In the future, wisdom will be able to help you to see that everything arises is liable to destruction and suffering, uncontrollable, and fading away. If we practice and follow the right path, anything that happens to us is always valuable for our practice and for observing our mind to develop wisdom. Previously, we went to work every day with a positive attitude, knowing that we will save money for when we get old and can practice formal meditation without worrying about making a living. Meeting people at work helps us practice mindfulness when there are contexts that impact the mind to think. Then we can objectively observe at the base and separate the mind, body, and phenomena. Working outside and still practicing the 10 perfections in our daily life is a good opportunity. But now with COVID-19, we have to stay home, and with wisdom, we can understand that this is also good because we don't have to travel to work and get stuck in traffic, saving money and time. We have more time for formal meditation and more time to observe the body and mind to develop the path. We also have time to clean up the house, take care of the garden, and get rid of the weeds. Plus, we can observe our body and mind when doing these activities. When we are at home, we have time to talk, communicate, and share cooking with our husband, wife, children, or parents. So no matter what you do at home or when you finally go back to work, there will still be contact and phenomena, so you can always practice. Life will be happier when you know how to practice and use it in your daily life. This crisis is reminding us that life is short. Some might have already retired and have done so many things instead of preparing themselves for a long journey in the cycle of rebirth. We have enjoyed all external things, wealth, a big house, big family, grandchildren, travel, and doing so many things without considering our own business. We have never practiced and prepared for our death. When death comes, no one can help us. Our family can only mourn and send good wishes, which we don't even know if we will get. When we are in a dangerous, faraway plane of existence, no one can help us. No one can be old, get sick, and die for us. As a wise person, we need to be aware and keep mindful with wisdom. We don't have much time left, so keep practicing meditation and mindfulness and spend less time indulging in the news. We can assess the progress of our mind's quality by whether we have better morality, mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom. Practicing when contact arises at the 6 sense doors and the mind is interacting with someone. Are we mindful and objectively observing? Do we see the contact that causes the mind to think? Are we separating the mind from thought? Are we mindful and controlling our actions through body, speech, and mind? Are we able to put down our ego and self? When we are angry, do we objectively observe when it has arisen? And with mindfulness, do we practice loving kindness and compassion? When we are greedy, do we observe the mind that is attached to greed? Are we willing to share with everyone? When we are distracted, do we observe the distracted mind and have mindfulness with wisdom? When we crave to gossip to others, do we have mindfulness just to remain silent, sit, smile, and admire him or her instead? Do we praise the triple gem, the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, more? All these might show that our impurities have lessened. Therefore, practicing meditation is not about spending more time at the temple and meditating all day and night, but practicing when the contact arises. With right mindfulness and wisdom, when we see, hear, smell, taste, touch, and think, we will know what, why, how, and when the outcome will be. We need confidence and faith in the triple gem, which is the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. When we have confidence in those 3, we carry on with effort, mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom in the right way, maintaining high morality and increasing wholesomeness. For any wholesome contact that has never been done, let it arise. For any unwholesome acts that have been committed, decrease, leave, and discontinue them. After confidence and effort, there will be mindfulness that observes, watches, and separates form and mental factors. After that, there will be concentration and wisdom accordingly. The good quality of mind is the mind that is filled with these 5 qualities: faith or confidence, effort, mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom. These qualities will help our mind to deal with the world crisis and effects from anything that comes our way. We need to be strong in living in this world, otherwise we will get dragged down every time something happens. When COVID-19 is gone, there might be another catastrophe, such as a hurricane, drought, and so many other things. Please be careful, especially those who are older. The older we get, the more we need to develop our mind. Those who are young also need to be careful. Death can come at any time it chooses. It can happen when you are young or old, so we have to be watchful by practicing formal meditation and training our mind until one day we can be free from suffering. I am here and would like to encourage you to have loving kindness, compassion, mindfulness, right concentration, wisdom, and right understanding, and right livelihood, so we can all develop our virtue and freedom of our mind. Don't forget to keep practicing formal meditation every day and evaluate yourself and how your morality, mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom are improving. Please also notice if you have many excuses for not practicing because of trying to live your life, but never have a reason that will bring you out of suffering. May you be safe, well, and far from all disasters. May the Dhamma protect those who practice Dhamma until they reach Nibbana. Thank you for listening.